All right. Um, Welcome. This
Hey,
is some Kairos planning. Let's try to do something new now. We've previously had some videos. We stopped them. Now we want to try to do something a little bit different with Dimitri's. Try to put some more community focus here. So either building something that we're working on, or in this case today, we're going to be reviewing some questions on the main public Kairos channel. Let's see how that goes.
yeah,
Let
it's
me
the first time, so
present.
we're gonna try to do that in the same way we would if someone jumped in the call and asked those questions. So we have some community questions floating around, some in the Slack channel, some others as bugs, so we can try to answer some of them here, right?
Perfect. I'm putting this on the side so I can read it. Okay. First one is this one. It's about uh upgrading. I'm gonna rate it just to because I think that might be easier. When doing a Kairos agent upgrade to a remote Docker digest, is it possible for it to check the current tag it's running versus the one it's trying to pull so that it doesn't always attempt an upgrade? For instance, if I have a latest tag that rolls to the latest build, can it identify that it's on the latest version already and skip the upgrade? Currently, it seems to always attempt to upgrade regardless of it if it's on the latest or not. I think this is something we've discussed multiple times. The fact that the upgrade command is not really upgrade as in moving upwards in semantic versioning, right? Um, but instead, upgrade for us means um, you want to you currently have a system and you want to upgrade into the next system, but the next system could actually be older versions of Kairos.
That's true. I'm trying to understand what the reason is here for this request because it says check if it's already on the latest version and skip the upgrade. It means that uh, they want to push latest as a tag and compare the checksum, the SAR, right? The
Yeah.
jest. Generally speaking, I don't think using latest is a good idea. You have so many pipelines that could be by mistake configured wrongly and push latest. You never know what
Mhm.
latest is. So,
Yeah.
as a general, I don't know, recommendation would say never use latest. Be explicit with what you upgrade to, because you may
Yeah.
have checked and latest is what you wanted, but all of a sudden some forgotten pipeline that has pushes latest through, right, starts pushing latest, and then of course it doesn't match. So even we had that check, it wouldn't match, it would upgrade, but to something you probably don't want. Of course, that's not the answer to this question, but because I saw that, I think it's a bad practice to use latest as a tag.
Yeah. I agree. Also, the whole concept of an immutable system is that you kind of want to atomically reproduce whatever you're doing, right?
Mhm.
So it's kind of the same thing on the Docker files you're basing um, your Kairos images. If you always point to latest, you cannot really reproduce the original system that you created. You actually have to say, this is the specific checksum that I want to rebuild all the time.
True. Also, we had this conversation. Remember when we were working on the list releases sub command? So Kairos agent has the
Yeah.
upgrade command, and there's a sub command list releases. So um, in the past, upgrade had an implicit upgrade where you didn't specify a version at all, and it upgraded to latest, whatever latest is. But
Mhm.
then we're discussing, okay, what exactly is latest? So is it supposed to bump my Kairos version but keep my Kubernetes version the same? Is it supposed to bump all of them? Because it's not clear what the user wants, we decided to to remove the implicit upgrade and always request from the user to specify a version.
Yeah, indeed. Um, yeah, that makes sense. So I guess the focus here is yeah, even if uh, latest is not the best idea, um, how can you? And this is what from the second comment from Antonym. Uh, if I understand correctly, is that he wants to know when a system is rebooting. Let me check.
Mm.
Um,
I think there is a
system.
reboot flag in upgrade. So if you want, so normally this is the state you're in. If I recall correctly, after the upgrade, and you should reboot. Otherwise, your upgrade is not applied yet. You're not booted in the upgraded system. And then I think there is
Yeah,
a reboot flag in upgrade, like saying upgrade and when you're done, reboot. I could be wrong. Maybe it's documented. Let me check.
I think you're right.
Mhm.
Uh, let's see. I don't think I have. Yeah, which
Upgrade.
are the okay? Queries. Let's say let's check one of the latest. Um, maybe, yeah, whatever. This should do. Um,
Mm, There's no, yeah, there isn't one. Upgrade reboot true in the config. Yeah.
what is this? Oh, there's a command to upgrade. Okay, cool. So that would be one thing to take into account. What else? Is there a way to identify that there's pending update so the upgrade command can
Pending. Hmm.
prompt for a reboot? Now, okay, this is all by what you say. Like if you're doing an upgrade and you want to avoid the situation, pass the
Yeah.
flag. Um,
No. I mean, after the upgrade, if you don't reboot, you're in that very strange situation where
yeah,
it's not
because you would
applied.
move the
Yeah.
passive more than once, right? And then you would be in trouble. Yeah.
I
Okay.
guess
And
it
there
could
are,
allow you to upgrade on top without rebooting. It just that there was never a request and a good user scenario for doing that. Like, no, I'm upgrading but not rebooting for whatever reason,
yeah,
and then I want to upgrade again. So maybe we could fix that and not throw that error. But generally, it's a little unusual to not reboot after the upgrade. So
yeah. Yeah, or maybe there should be some sort of some mechanism to check some Sentinel file and n- don't allow to upgrade twice in a row
mhm.
unless you pass a force flag or something like that.
That,
Maybe
or let's
that
say you
makes
made a mistake. I mean, the only user scenario I could think of that is valid is, let's say you upgraded to something, but you don't want to boot into that because it was a mistake. You specified the wrong image or whatever. Then you want to fix that by upgrading again, which means okay, change the next
yeah,
active image to something else.
yeah,
Then yeah, that would be a problem. How do you do that? You reboot to the thing you don't want to boot, and then you upgrade again. Uh, so maybe
yeah.
that's a good use case. Maybe we can ask um, to ask a question there in the chat to clarify that.
So sorry, what to clarify what?
If that's the use case, so if they want, for example, to fix mistaken, like a wrong upgrade. They upgraded to something they don't want to boot
Ah,
to
yeah.
the image they upgraded. Thus, they want to fix it by upgrading again. That's the only valid user scenario I can think of. Or we missed something. I don't know.
Oh, wait, there's no reboot. I thought we said there's reboot.
In the config, there's one
uh,
in the config. I'm not sure if it's there. Upgrade. Okay, it could be there as well. It's not because obviously when you run the CLI, you can do an end-to-end reboot or something. But in the config, there is one. So I checked
yeah,
the docs. This page I'm sending on the chat here.
yeah,
And if you look for, oh, sorry, that's not the one. Where did I find it? In the reference. So I was in the terminal. Grep, if you search for reboot true, it's in configuration, reference configuration. That's the page. Reference configuration, reboot colon true.
configure.
And
Okay.
then there's one under upgrade. Reboot colon and
Ah, yeah.
uh,
Okay,
reference
reference.
configuration, fourth link. Yeah. And search
Reboot.
for reboot
Yeah.
true. That's the install. And there is one for upgrade, one for reset. They all have one.
Okay, that makes sense. So
That's the
then we
reset
can
if you want to copy
say
that. Yeah, yeah. You can grab the upgrade one.
you can force the reboot in the config. Like so, uh,
Do replace reset with upgrade because it's an upgrade in
ah,
this case.
yes, catch. Thank you.
And yeah,
And I can ask,
mm,
or what would be your use case for not rebooting?
yeah. Okay, let's just like that and see if I'm right or wrong.
Is, yeah, is it that you wanted to apply to? No, he explicitly says one. Okay, whatever. We can leave it at this. I think that already
Mhm. Yeah,
makes sense. Cool. Then there's another one by Lian Tian.
I think this is a
I am
bit
trying.
harder. I checked a bit before the call. If you
Oh
open the
yeah,
comments, yeah, he's
I
sending.
haven't checked.
Uh, we have to compare the command with what we have in the docs, I think. It looks valid. The only thing I see is that the version is 3.1.3. It's rather old.
Yeah,
But
but
that,
the documentation. But we should have.
yeah,
Or
I
what do you
put
mean?
in, no, no, I mean, something doesn't work in the recovery flow. So the raw images boot into recovery by default. They do a reset, create the final partitions and all, and then they boot into the active system. So it seems something went wrong there. But
Yeah,
yeah, for example, Aurora boot doesn't specify the tag, so it could be either an old Aurora boot or something not compatible with the version of 3.1.3 Kairos there and Aurora boot, but it's out of the docs, right? Ah, yeah, you're in the 3.1.3 version of the docs anyway.
wait, generate. Plan. Did we change that? Looks like we changed it. Huh? I know it's Aurora, but 3 to 4. There is some noise here. Taking attention. Feels no now. Aurora boot. Is it in reference? Yes. Okay, this is the latest version, and the command
Yeah, it's the raw
is
images. Let me also try. Grab raw
and it's with bookworm. But I will try with a different
advanced build. I think is the
just in
page.
case. This scroll through. Yeah, this is the one. So what happens if I run this?
Nah, reproducing might take some time. Oh yeah, you need the config, and it will take some time because you need to. So it will create a raw disk. You have to boot it in QEMU, I guess.
Yeah. Do I have a quick config here? I thought I had a quick config. Yeah, something here.
Mm,
It even has my username.
yeah, but most of it won't. Yeah, anyway, it's dummy, but it won't be applied. It's not running the installation in this case.
And then I want to have a machine. Uh, little machine. Oh, I have way too many machines. I
Yeah,
was
you need to
testing.
upload the raw image. Can you boot raw images from this one?
Uh, Not sure. How does it work with raw images?
I usually do that with Virt Manager. You just let me see. What do you have there? Cloud-based image, maybe. Maybe. Yeah, you have to upload it.
Let's try. But it's still building.
Maybe we can skip this one and try to do that synchronously. Maybe we can discuss the other two
Yeah,
if we
that's a good
try
point.
to fix because this takes some time. So
Yeah, that's a good
might take
point.
some trial and error to reproduce.
Let's leave it there.
Uh, uh,
All right. What is the other one? Do
so
you want to present? I don't remember what the other one is.
no, it was a couple of them that we replied to just for the benefit of everybody.
You mean on GitHub?
Yes, in the on the board.
Oh yeah. Okay, let me put that in.
Uh,
Projects, tracking board here.
yeah, so one is under review. So the yeah, either the PR or that. So I pushed a fix. So the problem is that when you're trying to upgrade recovery, if you don't specify the source in the command, it complains. If you go
Mhm.
down, uh, so the correct key is not the same as when you upgrade. Unfortunately, so you see when you upgrade, you specify upgrade system URI. When you upgrade recovery, the key in the config is upgrade recovery system URI. I didn't know either. I found it in the code. So we had to
Yeah.
document it. And not only that, we printed the wrong one. So we said you have to specify upgrade system URI, which is wrong. You had to upgrade something else. So this PR hopefully fixes it in case anybody stumbled on it, along with some other little fixes that I squeezed in. Uh,
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes
So we
sense.
changed the message, and yeah, but there was not. I mean, it was working as long as
Right.
you could dive into the code and find it yourself.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, that
Good
was
catch,
one of
man.
the two, and the other one I'm currently trying and working on is. I think we got this question more than once. It's the other in the in progress column in the on the board.
Yeah.
The update existing K3s config. I think we've been asked more than once about this one. So let's say you install Kairos with K3s enabled. Maybe you put some K3s args through the config. There is a block for K3s. You're happy and all, right? And then all of a sudden you remember you didn't, for example, pass the debug flag. So your K3s server is not producing enough logs for you to debug things. How do you change that? And it's a very valid question. So I checked. If you check my last comment there are also links to prove that. So I checked the installer and where it writes things, the K3s installer. We probably have to check for K0s. Maro, you're more familiar with
Yeah.
the installer of K0s. But for K3s, these are the paths, mainly the paths. There was an etc zip for OpenSUSE and other things like that. But the configuration ends up in one of these paths. So
Mhm.
They are all mounted persistent, which means you can go after installation and edit the files and change them. So yeah, writing a stage or doing that manually with a script or whatever works better for you, you just go and upgrade. And I checked just now, you can go and pass, for example, in the system D unit for K3S server, you can pass the bug. There's an override actually, but yeah, you find the override, you pass the bug, and next time you get the bug logs. Um,
Got it. Yeah, I see. Makes sense because the configuration is only created at
mhm.
installation time, I guess, and then you
Yeah,
would need to patch it.
yeah, because I mean,
Well,
one would
in
think,
this
why
because
don't you reapply that, right? But the thing is, we don't really apply that ourselves. Kairos doesn't try to be too smart about how to configure K3s because the configuration could change from version to version, so we don't track all the changes. We let the installer do what it has to do. So reapplying that means you understand, for example, differences in versions, um, and how to apply that in what file and all. That would be way too complex. So we just pass down all the args at installation time, and then we're done. We'll never touch it again. But it's easy to touch it if you know what you want to change.
yeah, the thing I think is not it's not really installation. There is no installation of K3s happening at all. The only thing we do is that we put a service file, and
Oh, there is
that
one
is
actually.
only no, the installation. I mean, the installation is happening at Kairos init,
Yeah,
where we download the binary, right?
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
then after that, there is no process, so to speak, where
yeah.
you're installing K3s. You're just putting it in one location, and you're generating uh, um, unit file, an override even,
Hmm.
and that only happens at bootstrap time,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, which I don't know. It kind of make. I mean, it's bootstrap, right? That's the concept of a bootstrap. But I agree that you might want to override the bootstrap sometime. And if I remember correctly, actually, there is a way to do that. K3s run stages along with K3s. Was it? No. Isn't there a way to force the bootstrap? Yeah, I think there
I
is. No.
don't remember that.
Here.
There's a
But it's
Sentinel,
still
I think.
it's waiting. It's still waiting for bootstrap to happen. One time
There used to be a
bootstrap.
Sentinel file to tell it, yeah, to tell it that it has been bootstrapped. But yeah, I can't reply like that. I have to check.
Yeah, yeah. Token. No, it's about. I think it's about. Yeah, you're right. So somewhere there is a sentinel here.
Uh, uh, if we ever reach that code, I'm not sure if we reach that code after installation. Maybe you end up here because install was triggered on the Kairos agent. So I'm not
I
sure if you
think this
delete the
one.
send. Mhm.
Yeah, I think it will happen every single time. I could be wrong, but let me check. Do I have one of these ones running? Experience interactive. Uh, so this is running. Sorry. Uh, nothing is running. Do I have a single installation? Yes, this one.
Even if it
No,
works, I'm
but
not
this is
sure we consider that supported, given, for example, there are no tests for it and we don't even
yeah,
know if it
yeah,
works. I wouldn't recommend anybody to do that, even if it works.
yeah. That's a very good point. I just wanted to check if the Sentinel file is there. Like you said, what is happening? Is it that we never run the Bootstrap stage again, or is it that we always run it but we check the Sentinel file? And I think
Hmm.
it's the latter.
Probably,
Let's
yeah.
see.
Yeah. That's why
Yeah,
the Sentinel is there.
yeah. So that's what you could do, but as
Hmm.
Dimitri says, that's not really supported. Um, hmm, Okay, so where does the Sentinel file live? Here it is. Yep, that's what it is.
Do you
So
want to delete it?
technically, yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
but you would have to change the K3s args now and see if they were reapplied.
yeah. This one is for KCRS, but yeah, indeed. And the other thing is that when you remove that, everything related to the bootstrap will run, not just that.
Probably.
So you could be breaking things even worse.
And yeah, if some
Yeah.
of them are writing to persistent directories, that's so. Generally speaking, Kairos upgrades are atomic because you take the whole image and replace it with another image. But that having been said, there are paths that are writable and persistent, and if you go and mess with them, you may break K3s, for example. So if you go and break the K3s system D unit, it may not come up. So it is immutable. Yep, the upgrades are atomic uh, when it comes to the operating system, but you could still break things by messing around with persistent
Yeah,
directories, right?
yeah, that's a good point. But it does beg the question, I guess. Um, so we try to keep immutable the system part, so to speak, right? But you might still want to do some changes to the system in a safe environment, right? Like when you're building the images, you might want to change that configuration of the system. Uh, that's basically what you do when you do um, well, an iteration of your image, right? Like you could. There are two reasons you might want to upgrade. You might want to upgrade because I don't know. There's a newer version of K3s, K0s that you want to have because there are security patches on the underlying operating system, but there's also another reason that you might want to change your underlying base image, right? Like you want to provide an extra package or an extra configuration. And I guess this is that scenario, and we might need to cover it a little bit better, at least for the Kubernetes distributions.
Mhm.
Because let's say that it was a different kind of package. Let's say that we're not running, like we're running the core version of Kairos, and on top of that, we have, I don't know, some Nginx server running. And then when you're running your different stages, one of them includes, I don't know, Nginx conf or virtual hosts, right? And now you want to add a new item in the configuration and a new virtual host. What happened? You just modify your Cloud Init configuration and apply those things. And then you have your new system with this new configuration. But you can't do that with K3s or K0s.
Yeah, is the price of being flexible, right? All of them are valid. For me,
Yeah.
the first thing I thought of is probably I'm going to be running Nginx in Kubernetes, but then you said it's a core image, so it's not my use case anymore.
Nice, nice. Good catch. Good way to getting out of the problem.
I suggested a new problem.
Nice, nice, nice. Okay, but yeah, that pretty much uh, your answer explains how to one way to solve it, right? All
Yeah.
right.
So just to clarify, if we like this format, and I think I like it that we get to talk about the issues. So it's not like someone replying because when you see the reply in the end, you don't know how much time they spend if they care about your problem. It's better if we actually discuss them here, and people
Yeah,
can jump in and discuss them in this community call. Um, but yeah, in generally speaking, the morning planning we do internally in the team, we try to prioritize community questions. Even if we don't fix them, we try to reply to them. That's how these tickets made it at the top. So when someone asks something, we do our best to reply as soon as possible, even if the fix is not going to be planned soon. At least the people know if we're fixing it or not. For example, most of
yeah,
them usually have a better answer or a workaround, or there is no bug at all. So it's good if we reply quickly and people don't just wait for something that is, just for example the upgrade URI thing, right? It was just a
Yeah,
mistake and people are unblocked this way. So yeah, that's what we try to do.
that makes sense. I'm gonna add the section for notes so that we can have maybe we can even plan which ones we're going to discuss in the next call, and that way, if someone wants to join for that one, then we do that.
Yeah,
Cool, cool.
good
Okay,
idea.
then I think
Right.
we're covered. Thanks for the help on that, Dimitris, and
Thank you, Mauro.
see you next week.
See you. Bye.